I saw a word that literally scared me. In fact, I was careful to use it. Genesis 1:26, when the Bible said, let us make man in our own image. I checked that word out, and what I saw is the word Selim. And when I looked at the meaning of the word Selim, if you have a concordance, you can check it. This is not a special revelation. This is transliteration. That's what it is. In the original, it means a representative. If it stopped there, it would have been nice. At least would have known that we are here to stand in the stead of God, to represent his interest, to mirror his image and his dimension. But it didn't stop there. I saw another meaning to the word that shook me. And I said, so this is where the fallen angels caught this thing from. And they began to use it to create idolatry. Because the second word, the second meaning of this word is the word idol. And so when God created us, he literally made us to be his idol. That means we are entities that capture and transmit his dimension. So when men fell and the fallen angels came to the earth realm, they deployed the same system. They realized that it was possible to create something that can trap a spirit and reflect the interest of that spirit. So our forefathers traveled to look for men that had understanding, who were able to sculpt those idols, and those idols could traffic the essence of spirits. And so when you hear of worshiping of idols, that's where it began from. That angels knew that God could be trapped by a physical entity and his essence could be manifested. They couldn't create a living being, so they went to non-living things and status, and they used those things to trap the dimensions of spirit and to reflect it with the right ritual and the right intelligence. So when I saw this, the first thing that happened to me after being afraid was the fact that I realized there's no idol on earth that I should be scared of. That means we are senior brothers to every idol that has existed on earth. So if they take your name to a shrine, you are superior to that thing that is trafficking that spirit. And whatever that idol is trafficking in that shrine, what you traffic is superior to what that idol is trafficking. So idols traffic dimensions of fallen angels, but we traffic the dimensions of God. So when you are afraid that your name was taken to a shrine, it's because you don't know who you are. We are the senior brothers of every existing idol. There's no idol that can hurt you. You were created to trap God, to contain God, to express God. So when you move, God moves. This is why wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, it's called a church. The same way an idol is kept in a place, it's called a shrine. When we gather, then I asked the Lord, what name suits you? And he said, yeah. Sit down for a moment. Listen, you are a mobile altar. You were created to contain God and to express God. The word is his image. This is why every one of us must be a witness. If you are not a witness, then you don't have a purpose. You came here to traffic God to a dying world. You came here to reveal God to a world that is perplexed because of the operations of darkness. There is such investment on your inside. I taught you some days ago, and I told you, because man's construction process was not completed, it was truncated by rebellion, God decided to start another project. So the project of Jesus is actually a completion of what God wanted to do in Eden. The first Adam was supposed to be the first bearer of the fullness of God. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. But when the human race was corrupt, God had to become flesh to show us what he intended to do. And so until that time, the fullness of God was never seen. So John 1:18 said, no one has seen God at any time. So all the encounters the prophets had were different dimensions of God. Because there is nothing that can contain God's fullness. The only thing built to contain God's fullness is man. But that project was not completed. So the last Adam had to come. And he said, no man has seen God at any time. He said, the only begotten of the Father, who was in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. So he came to declare the Father. This is why when Philip asked him, show us the Father, it suffices us. In John 14:9, he said, whoever have seen me, have seen the Father. This is the purpose of man. That I can know him, interact with him, contain him, and then express him. And in expressing him, I extend his influence to anywhere I find myself. So the first complete witness was Christ. The Bible said it pleased the Father, Colossians 2:9, that the fullness of the Godhead should dwell in him bodily. And so the moment Jesus cleared every limitation on the part of our witnessing, he gave a command. John 20:21. He said, as the Father have sent me. He says, so also send I you. As the Father have sent me. He came for a witness. John spoke about it in John 1:5. He said, there is a man sent from God whose name was John. He came for a witness. He said he came to witness for the light. He said he is not the light. He said, but the one who is coming is the true light that lighted every man that cometh into the world. So he came to reflect God to us, so that when we receive God, we too can reflect God to our world. This is why anybody on earth who is not witnessing, revealing, reflecting, manifesting, and expanding God's influence, whatever he's doing on earth is a wasted time. He has no purpose. Let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion. I gave you my influence so that you will expand it, so that you will extend it. So anywhere you come to and there's the influence of any other spirit, your job is to dissipate it and plant my influence. That's why you are here. That's why he sends you everywhere. You didn't go to the academia because you want to be a professor. You didn't go to media because you want to be popular. You didn't go into politics and government and governance because you have obsession for power. All of these are corridors that influences human civilization. And your job, your goal, your purpose, and your focus is that as you assume these positions, you spread God's influence. His righteous influence, his holy influence, his love influence, his kind influence, his merciful influence, until this system begins to reflect the kingdom of God. And so everyone must be trained to become a witness.